keep hearing from these liberals and these Democrats say that these people are the backbone of the United States. They built America. No, they didn't. Because if they had those capabilities, the countries they came from would be well built and run like well-oiled machines. They're not standing there.
Take a look at this CNN panel where they go in. Anna Navarro, Abby Phillip, all of them go in on Scott Jennings over these deportations. This is clip 12.
There's not. We've all seen it. And there should be.
You definitively state that they're not being properly trained. Do you know that?
They're shooting dogs. They're shooting dogs in people's that have been locked in people's bathrooms. They're abandoning small children alone in cars while they. No, it's not false. Look it up. Don't just say false. I actually
abandoning small children. They turned the children over to HHS.
There were actually small children abandoned in a highway in a car in Cicero, Illinois.
You make these sweeping statements that they're not training.
Would you like me
they're
to
not
get
training ICE.
with
of course they go through
examples
training.
of what is happening?
Of course they're training them.
Well, they're training them, then they're not learning this stuff. They're definitely violating human rights, Scott.
Well, I disagree with you.
Okay, well.
Well, look, Scott, she had a specific example. It sounds like you were unfamiliar with it.
I'm not aware of her example. Here's what I know.
Okay, so
under
Joe
Biden, they didn't enforce federal immigration law. Now we do. We're having hundreds of thousands of interactions.
My point is that
things will happen, but she said they are not training them. She said they're not training.
Do you think that trained
She was saying a specific example, and you said it was false.
She said, quote, they're not training them.
You just acknowledge that you don't know what she was referring to.
I don't know what she's
talking about.
up
U.S. citizens without giving them...
I disagree with the generalization that they're scooping up U.S. citizens.
There's 170 that have been scooped up.
Well, there's over 500,000 illegal aliens that have been deported.
There's little children that have been scooped up that are U.S. citizens.
All right, look.
I know, you don't want the law enforced. I get it. You don't have to yell at me. You don't want the law enforced. I understand.
Listen, look, it is true.
Guess what?
That
On this table, black and white people can
have been detained by ICE without
detained and released.
Yeah,
released.
But whether you're detained and released after hours or days, your rights may still be violated, and that's still an issue that people have a right to be concerned about.
Can I just throw a curveball? The reason why they're often detained, though, is also because of the color of their skin.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's, again, a sweeping blanket general. Do you know of a specific instance where someone...
we got data for
honestly...
The answer is...
You're saying they're not training. You're saying they're racist. I mean, these are blanket statements.
That was a blanket statement.
The answer is yes, we do know of specific instances in which people, American citizens, have been arrested because they happen to be in a particular place and look a certain way. That has actually happened. They're documented. So this is...
So first off, the lady with the plaid scarf, she needs to be detained for wearing that ratty wig she had on. Okay. She needs to be detained and removed from the streets with that ratty wig that she had on. Okay. That's number one. Number two, Abby Phillip is the worst. Oh, she's the worst. She is the worst. Did you see what she did? So did she know about the issue or the story, the specific story that Anna Navarro was talking about? No. But instead of being balanced, she automatically takes the side of Anna Navarro. And Anna Navarro was wrong. And we're going to get into that. What are your thoughts on that, Nicole?
Listen, this is God bless Scott's heart. God bless his heart and his wallet and his bank account for him putting up with this foolishness day in and day out with these people. I don't like the way Abby presents herself. She's incredibly dry for my particular standard. And more often than not, she's a horrible moderator. Because she never lets anybody get a full thought in before she jumps in and says, no, and then reaffirms the Democrat talking point. But it is CNN, so what do you expect, right? I felt bad for Scott because he was fighting for his life against everybody at the table who had these vagaries. They're shooting dogs in bathrooms. Listen, if your pet pit bull comes charging at me while I'm arresting someone and you can't get them to settle down, it's me or the dog, who do you think's going to win that battle? You can't say they're not trained. Of course they're trained. So Scott is right. They were making these generalizations, but I felt bad for him, probably for the first time, because as Shelley has said before, You can't argue with that type of ignorance because there is no foundation. There is no truth between us where both of us can stand on. It is just getting worse and worse on CNN. They are doubling down on dumb like nobody's business. And I don't know how much longer Scott can put up with it. I mean, to be honest with you, this man must go home and take a bottle of aspirin. Tylenol is his friend when he leaves there. There's no way that's not kind of chipping away at his soul at night.
Oh, yeah. He has to go home and take a shower because he's sitting in a porta potty, okay, of just raw sewage. All right. Shelly, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I was going to say, I wanted to ask them at that table. They were talking about he know the specific case. Well, let me ask them a few names do they recognize. How about Rachel Marin, Jocelyn Ingare, Laken Riley, and other Americans, particularly women who have been slaughtered by illegal aliens, illegal that don't belong here. So I bet they wouldn't recognize those names right off the top of their hats either. Anna Navarro, you said it, Nicole, but I was going to say it like this. If Mikey or whoever Pookie's coming at the ICE agent, he needs to get 1 or 2 in the hind quarter. That's or maybe flattening his damn muzzle. That's what he needs. Yeah. So keep your pets. And why are you illegal? Why the hell you got pets here? How you feeding them? You feeding off the American economy with your illegality here or whatever else you're doing under the table. And now you got a nerve to have a pet too. Oh, give me a grip. These people. Anna Navarro is so smug. Abby, whatever her name is, but she needs to have an S on the end of her name, not just Phillip. It should be Phillips. Okay. I think she was trying to embarrass Scott. That's basically what she was doing. She was trying to embarrass Scott. He was a little upset, whatever, but he was making a bigger point. Are they not being trained? So basically, Anna was saying, "Oh, ICE agents don't know what they're doing." That's basically what she was saying. You can't. And who was the lady, the black lady, KJ? What was her name?
I forget her name. She's a
they only go after certain people. In the vocabulary of the left, anybody that's not white is black and brown. Period. Right. So to them, they're going to go after. So anybody going to go. Most of the immigrants, illegal immigrants, happen to be of Hispanic or Latin descent. So of course they're going to be brown people. They're speaking of my nerves.
Yeah, they're sickening.
Listen, let's talk about the case that they were talking about because it can be considered a controversial case. So they were talking about this Cicero case in Chicago. A teenager, a 19-year-old, she was 19, was left on the roadside along with her siblings. So according to the Department of Homeland Security, their parents were living in the United States without legal permission. So they're now being held in separate detention centers facing deportation. So there was a video of the incident. It showed a teenage girl, 19, so she's a woman, on the side of a road shielding her younger siblings as ICE agents arrested their parents and older brother after a traffic stop. So that's what kind of triggered. They were had a traffic stop. And the 19-year-old and her 22-year-old brother, Moses Jr., are speaking publicly for the first time. Okay, so they were speaking publicly according to this news report. And basically said that morning he went with his parents to pick up supplies at Home Depot before the family's birthday celebration when they were pulled over for allegedly making an illegal U-turn. He recalled 3 ICE vehicles blocking them in and agents surrounding their car demanding to see their IDs. They kept asking questions of the dad, and that's when they took the parents. So you didn't have there were younger siblings, but they were left there with their older brother, who was 22, and the older sister who was 19. So it wasn't like they left them there on the side of the road, these young kids.
Which they couldn't do. They would have to take them to a detention center, or at the very least, the local CPS. Yes.
Right. They did them a favor by leaving them with their 2 older adult, because 18 is the age of majority here. In some states, it's 15. Let's do that. 13, you can babysit them. So Anna Navarro is not one to be truthful. She's not truthful on the show that she's
she
on.
lies.
She's definitely not truthful on shows that she visits on. But what makes it even more disgusting is the smug look on her face that she had as she brought up this quote unquote obscure story about small children being left on the side of the road. That is not how the United States government does it. In fact, when we talk about people having illegals having health care in the United States, overwhelmingly, these are these DACA young people. Overwhelmingly, these are children whose parents have left or sent them here without any parental guidance. Overwhelmingly, the reason why most communities have to build new schools. Overwhelmingly. So this is not a small thing. When we talk about the children and the young people who are in this country illegally without any parental guidance, they either go in detention until they sort it out and find a responsible adult for them, or they go to CPS like any American kids whose parents were arrested. Why should we treat them any differently?
But before we move on, I want to ask you all, because this is a tough story, at least one of the tougher ones we've seen as far as the deportations. And I say that because, these were a family who had been here for many years. They were here illegally, but it wasn't like these parents had any rap sheet of any criminality that we know of other than being here illegal. They made a minor traffic violation. ICE swarms the vehicle and deports them. Does that pull at your heartstrings? I'll start with you, Shelley.
Let me check my heart. Let me see if I got any strings down there. I don't see any loose strings. However, this is what I had an actual question about this particular case. When they were driving, they made the legal turn. ICE had to have been watching them before. So because a legal turn doesn't call for ICE, it normally calls for the local police. So it was more going on to that before they even got to that point.
The issue. Well, before you go, I want to just jump in there, because this is the issue that leftists are saying. They're saying that ICE is now waiting for illegals to do something, whether it be a minor infraction, traffic violation or whatever, to get them.
Okay.
Because that gives them the probable cause.
Exactly.
And so then they probably were on the list.
Yeah, there you go. But that's what the left says, oh, well, coming here legally is not a crime. Okay, so now we've expanded it. So they wait for them to commit a crime. And then, so what do they want to do? They're doing it. They're even giving them additional rope, so to speak. They're even giving them concessions to the left. They say, okay, we're going to wait until they do something. They're here illegally, but now we're going to wait. Now, let me say this. The young kids, of course, I wouldn't say it pulls at my heartstrings. But I can understand young kids, whatever, you with your mom and dad, and your mom and dad are gone. Of course, those children are going to be missing their parents and things like that. That's normal. But I'm of the mindset of Tom Homan. The whole damn family can go.
Yeah. Yes. Let's not bust up the family. Let's not bust up the family. Give mom and dad the option now to self-deport. Self-deport. And there was an older brother, a sister, and 2 younger children with 2 parents. What is that? 6 of them, give or take, right? 6, 7 people in this family at $1,000 a piece in whatever foreign nation they came from in American money. Go back to your homeland. Go back to your homeland, build a beautiful life, raise those children, use that generous gift from the United States government to reestablish yourself in your homeland. We keep hearing from these liberals and these Democrats say that these people are the backbone of the United States. They built America. No, they didn't. Because if they had those capabilities, the countries they came from would be well built and run like well-oiled machines. They're not sending their best and their brightest. That's not what we're getting. We're getting Paco and them selling oranges on the corner. That's who we're getting. That is who we're getting. And ICE is not out patrolling traffic. That's not what ICE does. It is not. Guarantee you, the mother or the father was on somebody's list. And they broke the law when they came here illegally. Now, does my heart break for the little children who had to witness their parents getting arrested by ICE? Yes, my heart breaks for them. It breaks in a million little pieces because these are children who will never know how gracious and how kind and how generous this nation is. What they get to see is the enforcement side of our nation, the law enforcement side of our nation. But we didn't cause that problem. Their parents did. Don't give me this shit, oh, we wanted a better life and blah, blah, blah. Then build a better life where you are. You don't have to come here for a better life. Make your home nation great. We send lots and lots of money to these nations, more money than I care to mention, that we spend building other people's nations so their people won't come here. Send them back home. And that's not me being mean, but I'm saying if we sent back 5-6 million people to their home countries who are allegedly doing so many great things here in the United States, would we not be making their nations great?
Yeah, you're right. That's a very good point. But speaking of